ball's going to have the wrong spin and or start in the wrong way. There it is. Hi, I'm John Elliott. I'm a member of the Professional Bowlers Association. The PGA of America, and we're going to do a tape for you today on how to play better golf and have some more fun. But we're going to relate it to all of the other games that you've played all of your life. The motions are so similar. In moving a bowling ball, we have three power sources: our hand, our arm, and our weight shift. Let me give you an example. Now, first thing I did is I gripped the bowling ball. Well, I didn't have too many choices on how because they had 3 holes in there. But then I set my body in a posture, I moved my arm back, I stepped forward, my arm followed that step. Same type of motion we use in a golf swing. How about this? When throwing a softball, I have 2 options. I can either go that way with my arm or I can go overhand with my arm. Just like in golf, when I swing my arm back, I set and I load my hand and wrist. As I do that, my weight moves to my rear foot. And then before I release that ball, my weight moves to my front foot. Watch. Pitching action. Not very good, but pitching. Another one. Playing football. One of the most important things with a football is how you grip it. You must put your hands on the ball properly so that you can get the right spin characteristics. It's no different with a golf club. Your golf ball is going to spin off that face, and what controls the face are your hands. So if we can get your hand on the football correctly, you then shift the weight back and get loaded in the wrist and elbow. Your weight shift precedes the release, and the ball flies forward. How about another one? Oh, my favorite game, other than golf and bowling and tennis and all the rest. But anyhow, tennis racket. Here the loading is a little bit different. We don't load the arm, we load the body. But just like when I take my tennis lessons, my tennis pro said, John, the reason you keep hitting it with an open racket face is because your grip is too weak. How many of you are slicing your golf shots? Well, if you are, your grip is too weak. He had me strengthen my grip, means I turned it more to my right. So when the face of the racket or the face of the tennis racket got to the ball, it was in a square position. Watch. Get set, get loaded, step in, stroke through. Just like in golf, when you hit it, you want a backward leaning right wrist. Oh, fishing. You might say, well, how does this relate to everything else that we're doing? And the answer is, it's still a loading and unloading action. First of all, we position the line on our finger, we take our grip, we open the bail, now we set the racket or we set the fishing pole behind us. I'm going to step, I'm going to get loaded, I'm going to step, and I'm going to throw. Watch. Where was the release? The answer is it was way out here in front of me, just like it is in golf. I don't know what this is. Well, what this is what this tape is all about. We have just shown you many other sports that relate very closely to the one that we're now going to educate you a little bit more on. The points that I want you to remember from what we just did, we're trying to get you loaded and unloaded. We're trying to help you understand the power sources, and they are your hands, your arms, and your pivot. Pivot meaning the rotation of the body, both back and then through. What we'd like to do now is show you how this actually works on the tee. Let's go do it. Can you imagine a football player playing football without going to the field and stretching out? How about a tennis player playing tennis without volleying? Well, how about a golfer playing golf without warming up? We see it all the time. You know why? Because we get there so late we don't have time to warm up our power sources as you see me doing here. I need you to stretch out, loosen up those power sources. And then once you've done that, and it doesn't take very long at all, I want you to switch off and start hitting some short shots with a high lofted club. Now when you're doing this, you're not thinking about the target at all. You're just simply warming yourselves up. You're getting ready to go. That way you won't feel like you need a 21-hole golf course to play 18 holes because the first 2 or 3 are messed up. It wouldn't be messed up if we were warmed up. Now, once I've hit those shots, I then switch my mind over to the short game area. I go to the practice green, hit some putts, hit some chips. Now I've warmed up my full swing, I've warmed up my short game. When I get to that first tee, I'm ready to play. My challenge to you, are you ready to play? Now that was an athletic move. You know why? Because I was using those 3 power sources that we've already talked about. I was setting my wrists. The reason that I was is because my hands fit one another so the wrist joints can bend together as a unit, as a team. When they do, I'm going to have some wrinkles in my right wrist joint. Well, that's part of the power. The right wrist, the right elbow are getting loaded up, just like in baseball and football when you're throwing. You set the elbow and the wrist, you step and you throw. Well, you know, it's kind of interesting in golf. We shift our weight, but we do it without moving our feet. We could play this way if we wanted to, though. Watch my left foot. We could be athletic like other sports and go ahead and step into it, but what we found is it's not necessary. But regardless, by being in an athletic position, and this is, and then having an athletic posture, addressing the ball according to where the ball is, it puts you in such a dynamic position. But set the wrist. Create the L between the shaft and your left arm. Feel the stretch along your left shoulder area. You can see how tight that shirt looks. That's my power. Coil the body. When you do, you're coiled over your rear leg. After you've uncoiled or unloaded, you're now over your front leg, but in balance. Now, the key to being able to use those 3 power sources has to do with how you set up, though. And the setup are your basics: grip, alignment, posture, ball position, if you will. First letter of those first 4 words, G-A-P, gap, it's in the mall. B for boys, gap for boys. Grip, alignment, posture, ball, so key. And when you're setting up, here's what happens. We get into a routine in this setup. First, we assume the grip, top hand, bottom hand. Where do the V's go? To the back shoulder. Then, as we're setting up, we step in with the rear foot. We bend our spine forward to get the club down behind the ball. We're assuming our posture and our alignment simultaneously. We look where we're going. We spread the front foot in front of the ball, widen with the back foot. We're ready to hit it. Now in golf, alignment has to do with 2 things, you and the golf club. So using this rope, when I'm bending over to address the golf ball, and let me put one there, imagine that it's right on the center of that line. Once I've taken that grip, I step in, I bend forward and downward. Not just downward like a lot of you are doing, forward and downward. Why? The ball's beneath me and it's in front of me. Step in, bend down. Now, I've put my spine in a very athletic position from which I look down the target line. This is how we aim. We don't aim like that. Place the front foot, replace the back foot, and all of my body lines, feet, and even my eyes should be parallel to this target line. Why? I want to have the best chance of hitting the ball down the line. The easiest way to do it is to be square. So watch again. Top hand, bottom hand, square club face. Alignment and posture, ball position with the feet. The 3 power sources with the 4 basics will put your scores in a range that you have never experienced. I'm challenging you to experience it. when you walk up on the tee, do you have a heavy hand and a light head, or do you have a heavy head and a light hand? What I'm referring to is, are you making your decisions back there where the carts are, or are you making them up here on the tee where you should be making them? Let me give you an example. As I look down this fairway, on the right-hand side we see trees, and to the right of that, there's out of bounds. And over on the left-hand side we see bunkers, and left of that, there's more out of bounds. And if you hit the ball too far on line with the fairway and it goes through the fairway, regretfully, drops down into the rough. So as I'm standing here, my first consideration is, where do I want to put the ball? And with what club do I want to do it? Well, it's not a driver hole for me today. It's not playing that long. So I'm going to play this hole with my 3-wood. That felt great. And more importantly, it's in what I call the garden of the hole, the area that the architect designed for me to hit to, from which I can then play the easiest next shot. Is that how you play golf? Or do you play it by just hitting it and hunting it? We don't want you to do that anymore. And one of the things that we can do to help you not continue to hit and hunt is for you to be aware of your tendencies as you're playing a round of golf. Let me give you an example. If you miss 2 fairways in a row with your driver, I want you to take your head cover out of the bag, cover up the driver, put it right back in the bag. Don't use it until you've hit 2 fairways in a row, maybe with your 3-wood. Now, if you try to play with the 3-wood and you miss 2 fairways in a row, cover up the 3-wood, put it right back in the bag and go to your 5-wood. Now, if you hit 2 in a row with the 5-wood, take that cover off the 3 and you get to use the longer club again. But this is a game of distance and direction, not just distance. A lot of you feel like to hit it well, you have to just kill it. That's not the intent. The intent is to get it to go a certain distance on a certain line. Let me show you what I mean. One of the things that I like to do is imagine underneath my golf ball, there's a white board with a hole in the center of it. And I'm aiming this board at that right-hand bunker down the fairway. Now, to play this shot, I do 3 things. I picture the board under the ball. Secondly, as I walk into the shot, I place the ball just inside of my left heel, usually about 2 inches. And then thirdly, I set my body in what we call a reverse K position. Let me show you. I see the board going to the bunker. Ball, body, and then hit it. Let's look at this one from a different angle. Notice that each time that I've hit it, I've held my position. That's maintaining my balance. What does that do? That lets me and the golf club work together as a team through the ball, where I can just smash the back of that golf ball. So let me do a review for you. 3 points. First of all, when you walk up on the tee box, walk up with a clear head and identify the conditions before you select the club. Secondly, I want you to continue to use your imagination to monitor what you've been doing during the course of that round relative to your clubs. Are they out of play, and are you still using them? And then thirdly, every shot needs to be and should be finished in a balanced position for solid contact. Let's go find that ball down the fairway. Wow, how about this lie? I mean, it's like standing on a mountain and yet playing to a flat green that's out there at about my normal 4-iron distance, but because of the lie and the fact that I'm going to have to choke down, I've chosen my 5-wood. But before I use it, a couple things that I need to express to you. First of all, when you have a lie like this and it's this severe, watch this ball. Look how fast it falls to my left. Well, your golf ball is going to do the same thing. When the ball is above your feet, it wants to curve rapidly to your left. Just like if it was below your feet, it would curve rapidly to the right. So first thing we need to do is misaim intentionally to the right to allow it room to curve to the left. Secondly, find a balanced position and then let your hands and arms fall from your shoulders, and wherever they fall, that's where you grip the club. I've got probably 3.5 inches of choke down here. Now from next to the golf ball, I'm going to make a practice swing and find a balance point. That feels real good. So here we go. We're going to choke down. We're going to aim to the right. Find a balance point. Knock it right on the green next to the pin. Let's take a look at that again. But you know the picture I had in my head there? Mark McGuire digging one out of the dirt, just like this morning with the baseball bat. I also saw a picture of Jimmy Connors getting that ball just before it hit the dirt on the tennis court. And this shot is so important that we stay down through it, because the balance point is so uneven, it's going to pull you away from it. Get balanced, stay balanced, finish off that shot, and it'll be up on the green for you. But if this is not the kind of shot you feel comfortable with, divide by 2. I was using my 5-wood, but it was a 4-iron distance. Divide that number by 2, hit it down the fairway with some other club that's more friendly, knock it on with your next shot. You use the strategy that fits your game plan. Bobby, what do you see? What do you think?
John, I think if I can get this up real quick and cut it a little bit, I can get to the green.
Yeah, but you know, being a best ball event and you're my partner, if that doesn't work, you could be dead. What about going a different direction?
You think?
Well, what's your handicap?
8.
This is number 4 hole, so you know, you can lay it out here in the fairway and still get on in 3 and be in great shape. Why don't you set up and hit it out here into the fairway?
Okay, I hit a little pitching wedge out there.
Okay. I feel so much better about that. You know, they put those rocks there and they're beautiful to look at, but they're also very dangerous, and if it doesn't work, you're back there in the hazard. What have we gained?
Gotcha.
Okay. In preparing to set up to hit this fairway wood, one of the main considerations is the lie of the ball, and it's sitting down a little bit, so I've played it back in my stance so I can hit down on it. Now that you've seen the face-on view, we're going to switch you to down the line so you can check that posture out. And I get it up in the air and it lands on that green and it stops pretty quickly. I get pretty excited. It's going to suck back, it's going to stop, and I'm going to be happy, just like I hit a home run in baseball. How about this lie? It's perfect. You know why? Because we accomplished our first goal. We drove the ball a pretty good distance, but most importantly in play. But for some of you, this lie is scary, because if you haven't played too long, you're going to try to help the ball get up in the air. Your mind is saying to get it up, you have to get the club under it. Wrong. Absolutely dead wrong. Just like with our chip shots, we want to hit this shot with a forward-leaning shaft, a flat left wrist, a bent back right wrist, so that when we hit the golf ball, we're going to take some turf in front of it. In front means on the target side of the ball, not back here behind it. Now, when I play tennis, my right hand gets too weak. The racket face is wide open when I hit it. End result, no power, no distance. Well, here, the same thing can happen when the hands are working improperly. So we want the grip in the correct position so the club can arrive in a manner that looks like this with that hole in front of the golf ball, just like with that tennis stroke. Let's watch. Oh, that's right next to the pin. Now, once you've hit that shot up on the green, there's probably going to be a hole here in the ground. If you're playing golf up north, you fix that hole by going and getting the divot, bringing it back here, replacing it, stepping on it. But if you're playing golf down south, we don't replace the divot. We take the sand that's on the cart, fill the hole up, also step on it so that the next person is playing from a good lie. So remember that, and everybody's going to have a great time. Bet you thought I was going to hit it just like they did, didn't you? No way. See, what those folks didn't realize is how important a pre-swing routine is so that you can get your mind off of the water, off of the problems, off of the conditions, just like when you have to hit it over a bunker. We don't want you thinking about the bunker. We want you thinking about the outcome. So we want to teach you how to get into a really solid pre-swing routine which will keep you organized both physically and mentally. Watch. I start my routine the same way every time. I let my right hand hand the club to my left hand. I then am behind the golf ball, and what am I doing back there? I'm sighting down the target line so that I can see the pin that I want to hit the ball next to. I then leave the area behind the ball. I walk to the side, step in with my right foot and leg, and I'm creating my alignment, my posture, my weight. In other words, where is it? It's on the balls of my feet. My arms are hanging from my shoulders. The next thing I do is I swing my left foot into position for ball position, and then I widen my stance with my right foot. I'm now ready to hit a quality golf shot over a hazard I didn't even know existed because I was so into the routine. I hold that spine angle. I watch that result. I pat myself on the back because I didn't let that hazard get in my way. That's the way to play when you're intimidated. What a neat looking shot. For a lot of you, this is a scary looking shot. You know why? You're not sure how to play it. And you're putting your emphasis on getting over the bunker, where I'm putting my emphasis on getting on the green somewhere near the pin. Let me show you what I can do for you to help you put your emphasis in the right place. First of all, never walk up here with just one club, because until you've seen the lie and the situation, you don't know what you're going to do. Well, now that I have seen the lie and situation, I'm going to play this shot with my sand iron, not my pitching wedge. Secondly, imagine the height that the ball will travel by virtue of the loft of the club. This golf club will make this ball go that high, assuming I hit it hard enough for it to do it. So right off the bat, I don't have to do anything to get the ball over the bunker. The club's going to do most of the work. Next, before you play this shot, it's important to make any decisions that are going to influence the swing before you get near the ball. Decisions I need to make. I need to feel how much motion and speed I need to produce to hit the ball up on the green. Secondly, I need to make a decision on which setup I'm going to use, of which there are three. Ball back, weight forward, that produces low. That doesn't work. Ball, club, and weight center, center, center. Well, I could use that if I want to, or because I do have a lot of bunker here and I do want to hit a high soft shot, why wouldn't I set up with the ball forward in my stance, my body slightly behind it, and then let the club do the work for me? Watch. Find a feel. Clean your club face. When you hit it well, you can't see it enough times. So let's look at that one once more. I don't know about you, but I was really happy with that shot. Well, I'm supposed to be nervous. I'm on camera. But more importantly, I rehearsed it, I saw it, I felt it, and then last but not least, I produced it. The killer here is when your brain is telling you, oh, if I can get the ball just over the bunker. Well, just like in life, folks, we many times come up a little short of our goals, and if you do here, your ball is next in the bunker. Let's not do it that way. Let's get your head in the right place and enjoy this shot. This feel like you? A nail biter? Why? The difference between this shot and a pitch shot is so minimal. All you have to know is how to let the club hit the sand, let the sand move the ball up onto the green, walk out of here, rake it, and you're finished. But most folks in here get so afraid of the club hitting the sand that they end up hitting the ball. Let me show you what we do. First of all, you take your normal setup. Club face square, you can be square. The first variable is that we're, instead of playing the ball inside of our left foot, we're going to play it off the instep of our left foot or our front foot. Secondly, my picture in my head is of the club hitting the sand and the sand moving the ball. Now when I look back down, I see my divot. Not only do I see it, I read it, I critique it. Most of my divots are the same size as my shoe. I wear a size 10. 2 of those inches are occurring behind where the ball was positioned, and the balance is in front. And the key to this whole thing is that when you're standing there, continuing to look at your left foot, notice that the entire divot, the entrance point and the exit point, is framing your left foot. What you all do when you have a hard time here is you get set up the same way I do, but regretfully, you get afraid. And to hit the sand, your hands release too early, causing a drop kick sculling. You just heard the dreaded 2 noises, club hit sand and then regretfully club hit ball. Remember, we want the sand to move the ball, not the club head hitting the ball. So let me show you the right way once again. We're going to imagine that the ball is right off the instep of our front foot. We're going to picture the club hitting the sand. Hold that finish, because we still need to be in balance. Now, it doesn't really matter what you hit out of here. Want to see something a little different? Watch. Here's my favorite trusty Swiss knife. The intent is to hit the sand, and no matter what's on it, comes out of here onto the green. Last time I did it, I stuck it, all right? So again, remember, club sand, sand moves ball. Ball's forward in your stance, hold that balance, knock it up close, have a good time. Make sure that you find the rake, clean up your mess so that it's not going to affect your fellow players' ability to get out of here fairly. Trying to get all these footprints. Leave it on the side, see you on the green. If you don't have this beautiful setting in your backyard, then you may not be practicing greenside bunker shots very often. But you know, all you need to do that is have sand, a ball, and a club. You can put the sand anywhere you'd like. It could be on concrete, it can be on grass. In this case, it's on grass, obviously. Then you switch your thoughts off of hitting the ball and on to hitting the sand. You take a normal bunker shot setup where the ball is played forward in your stance. You make a very gracious size swing, and you feel and you hear the club hit the sand and the sand move the ball. Now, we want you to get really good at this, so we don't just do it once, we do it a bunch. And a picture I have in my mind is of the club hitting the sand just like a boxer hits his opponent, but he's wearing a mitt. There's no solid skin-to-skin contact. Well, there's no solid club-to-ball contact here either. Now, the key to being a good bunker player is A, having the ball off the inside of your front foot, and B, learning to get the club to hit the sand and the sand move the ball. What a neat and really playable situation, one in which I have so many options that I didn't know which club to bring, so I brought a bunch of clubs. From this situation where there's not much room from the ball to the fringe, and the fringe is this beautiful and this playable, one of your options would be to putt the ball, especially for you higher handicappers. So make a rehearsal stroke next to it, preferably looking at where you want to hit it. Set yourselves up. And roll it down there near the pin. Your main objective here is to get in the hole in 2 or 3, no more than 3. But then again, for some of you lower handicappers, You'd probably rather not play the putter, so you might jump into a 7 or an 8 iron. Again, make your rehearsal next to the ball, and when you're hitting a chip shot, and that's what this is, we play it with a real narrow stance. The weight and the shaft are both leaning forward, and the ball is back in your stance. It's a very short, crisp little stroke that produces a very low-flying, running shot to the pin. And then for some of you that don't play very much, find a favorite club. You might like your 8 iron. It happens to be one of my favorites, but at my level of play, I chip with a lot of different clubs, but that's not for everybody. If you don't play but a couple of times a year, find a favorite chipping club and then find a favorite pitching club. So if your 8 iron becomes your favorite, again, set up next to the ball, rehearse the stroke, hands are forward, weight is forward. Listen, we hit down on the ground and we let the club run the ball to the pin. And one of the other shots, or in this case the last one, is if you're really feeling queasy and nervous, the golf club that you might want to use is a 3, 4, or 5 wood. And the reason is it's got such a wide sole that when you're stroking the club along the ground, it won't get hung up. Sometimes the putter will get hung up. So as you're setting up, you're choking down, you're playing the weight forward in the stance to make sure you're hitting down on it and stroke it like a putt, using your shoulders and arms to propel the ball forward. So we've shown you 4 different shots from the same location, all relative to your handicap and your ability level. Play the one that's the best for you and the score will come down. That's what we're looking for. You know, for what we're paying for the long club in our bag today, we should probably not only be driving with it, we should probably be putting with it. Because the most important club in your bag isn't this one, it's the putter. It's the shortest, and yet it's 43% of your total game. So what we're going to do now is show you how to become a better putter by showing you a routine, talking about a repeating stroke, and then showing you some drills that you can do to get a lot better at distance and direction. So let me show you. First of all, in putting, those of you that haven't played very long, when you set up, you just arrive, you just get there. What that means is you put your feet on the ground, the club behind the ball, you take a general look at the target and you hit it, all right? And maybe it goes in and maybe it doesn't, but you don't really have a routine to get yourselves in a position where you can capitalize on 2 or 3 things, the first of which are your eyes. If you can imagine, this putter is a rifle, and on the rifle is a scope. Would you shoot this rifle with a scope at a target like this? Or would you bring that rifle right up to your dominant eye, sight through the rifle scope, and then pull the trigger? Well, in putting, your scope are your eyes. So the first and most important thing we need to set is your eye line. So here's how we do it. The routine is called EBF, eyes, blade, feet. An acronym is every ball falls. That's what we want to have happen in your game. Every ball falls. Watch. Set the eyes. Set the blade. With my dominant hand, where it's going to be when I actually take and make the stroke. And then last but not least, I set my feet. Now I'm ready to go. Here it is again. You set your eyes over the target line, set the blade behind the ball and aim it, and then we set our feet. Good putters stand 2 putter heads from the ball, and it doesn't matter how tall you are. Longer putters for taller people and vice versa. One of the other keys to EBF are your arms. The most natural way for you to putt is to simply let them dangle or hang from your shoulders, swing your hands together, move your arms and the club back and forth. Watch. This putter fits my setup, and yet it's 4 inches shorter than the standard putter. Now the second thing I want you to be aware of is what we call a repeating stroke. Those of you that haven't played too long, this is your putting stroke. It's very handsy and wristy, and we have a huge breakdown in the lead hand. I want you to follow me as we're doing this on tape. Let your arms hang, let your hands be next to one another. Copy this motion. Notice that as I stroke forward, the forward wrist is flat. It's not breaking down. The arms and shoulders are moving the hands instead of vice versa. Second step, turn the club upside down and do the same thing, with the top of the club leading the bottom of the club. And then grip the club in a normal manner, and by the way, normal means the top of the grip is flat. That's for your thumbs. That'll give you a pretty good indication of where your hands should be on the golf club. From here, we do the same thing, letting the handle of the club precede the head through impact. Set up, eyes, blade, feet. But one of the things that contributes to good shots and bad shots on the green is distance control. And I'd like to show you a distance control drill called bump the fringe. The intent, first of all, you measure how far you are from where the pile of balls is to the fringe. This is 30 feet. Then you play a game called the 10% rule, and you do the same thing out on the golf course. You're trying to get the ball within 10% of that distance to the fringe. So 30 feet, 3 feet, I want to be 1.5 feet short to 1.5 feet long. Either one of those would be fine. We go through our routine. Watch our putt, right up to the fringe. We do it again. Set the eyes, set the blade. Set your feet, see the fringe. Hold that finish. And both of those balls are handily within our 3 feet of that fringe. Now the second thing you must have control over in putting is your direction. And when you're working on direction, you want to work on short putts. And I have a challenge for all of you. There are 18 holes out there, and you're probably going to get a putt in the 3-foot range, 18 times. So what I'd like for you to do is get to a point on a practice putting green where you can make 18 3-footers in a row. What's your main focus on? The distance, the direction that the ball is going to travel. So we go through the routine, set the eyes, set the blade, set your feet. It totally into the hole, knock it in. Pull in the next ball, go through the routine all over again. Set the eyes, set the blade, set your feet, knock it in. Now you know what? If you happen to miss one of those, it's just like missing your driver, it counts the same amount. The only thing is that you've left the green with a pretty sour taste in your mouth. You're probably not going to hit as good a drive because of it. Bump the fringe, directional control from 3 feet, knock in more putts. So what we want you to do is continue working on that putting and that repeating stroke, using the routine, eyes, blade, feet, and I guarantee you, you're going to be a better putter. When you reflect back on what you've seen and heard, we want you to remember the following things. First of all, we want you to get so good that you master the 3 power sources: your hands and wrists, the swinging of your arms, the pivoting and turning of your body. But more importantly, from this beautiful game, we want you to have more fun by relating it to the other sports that you've played all of your lives. Look at the scenery. Look at the location. It's outstanding. We thank you very much for watching this tape. We hope you enjoy the game of golf for your lifetime. All right. We're using our left arm to get way too much leverage. Watch, this is you. See my arm? The arm should be an extension of the club, so we want the arm and the club out here more together. Stay there. And the wrist fold, but the arm doesn't. Don't move.
Okay.
Now you've created a letter L. See the letter L? All right, that's good. When you have this, you have a broken down L, the club's about to hit you in the shoulder, and you're gonna throw it right from the top. Nice, Morg. Then the ball's gonna have the wrong spin and or start in the wrong direction. You've gotta get it lined up. Well, the same thing is true at the top. So this is for you, this is like shooting a basketball, that's right. When you make your bad swing in your head, now move your head forward. When your head moves forward, see how your hand hit the track? But not only that, when the head moves forward, your shoulders get way too active. Don't move. There it is. Perfect, that's it.
Golf Digest presents 50 ways to lower your score.
To get greater distance, turn your right foot out. For a better backswing, don't slide. Turn your hips instead.
Now, lower your score, drive longer, hit straighter, and play your best golf ever with the 50 new stroke-saving tips in every Golf Digest. Call now for your risk-free trial issue. If you like it, get 11 more issues, 12 in all, for just $19.97. Plus, get this stroke-saving video free.
Call 800-817-1600.